Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this one is a Holman CSB large print personal size reference Bible. Now, the CSB is a Christian Standard Bible translation, and this one uses the 2017 text, not the 2020 updated text. This specific edition is in navy leather touch, which is Holman's simulated kind of leather material. And one of my favorite things to do is to purchase Bibles for people who A, either don't have one, or B, they're looking for like a specific feature set within a Bible and they don't really know where to look. I really enjoy this because it gives me a chance to kind of find a Bible that's going to serve them best. Also, it's going to allow me to pull in some of sort of their kind of their personal preferences, the things they like, the things they don't like, some, if they have a certain need, right, like a large print, or if they need like a personal size Bible, something easy or portable, just those sorts of things, not to mention too, like their visual aesthetics that appeal to them also. It's always interesting just trying to hammer out like the very best Bible for them. Now, the person that requested this Bible, I'm going to be giving to them for Christmas. It's a family member, and she basically said she wanted an easy read translation that wasn't very expensive. And she's a little bit older, so I figured I'd get her a large size. She wears glasses, so I figured or not a large size, but a large print. She wears glasses, so I figured I'd just try and get something that's a little easier on the eyes for her, just in case, it's the end of the day or something like that. She, maybe necessarily doesn't feel like putting glasses on to read the text. So I didn't want to roll out with like a 6-point font or anything like that. Another one of the benefits to this is, it's always nice to kind of, if somebody's requesting a Bible, that means that they have an active interest in it, right? So I don't want to just like hand them a trade paperback, you know what I mean? Like a, what do they call it? Like an outreach Bible, just something like that with some King James text on like some really kind of rough paper. I like spending just a couple bucks. I mean, this Bible really wasn't very expensive, and I like spending just a couple bucks to get them something nicer, something that they'll appreciate. And one of the things that she enjoys is kind of like, kind of old time Renaissance era and like 1920s kind of Art Deco styling. So I tried to find something that was kind of in that realm. Renaissance era probably wouldn't have been so easy unless I was getting like one of those giant like family Bibles. But I was able to find this edition done by Holman, and it does have a very nice kind of like Art Deco look to it. So I wanted to show it off to you guys before I gifted it to her, just because if you're interested in this sort of thing, this might be your cup of tea. And if you are interested in it, I'll certainly leave a link down below for you guys to purchase it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sleeve that it comes in here. I'll show you guys the front with kind of the basic information. Then I'll flip it over and show you guys the back for more specific details. All right, but again, it is just kind of a sleeve that slides over the Bible. On the back, you can see some of those details. If you want to pause, go for it. Your ISBN number down at the bottom there. So I'll set this aside. And we'll take a look. So right at the gate, you can see this very nice, it's just a very nice kind of navy color. There is some modeling there, so there's like a little bit of kind of variation to the coloration on the cover, and I very much like that instead of just like a solid blue. You get some kind of darks and some, some lighter portions of it. It just gives it a kind of a nice three-dimensional look. Now, I know this is their simulated leather, right? Their leather touch, but it does not feel like leather. It certainly just feels like polyurethane or something like that. Kind of a standard, faux leather cover feel, There is now kind of this nice stamping, and like I said, it's kind of like a Art Deco 1920s kind of feel to it. The border here, and even the font selection they use for the words Holy Bible. And it actually is kind of imprinted in like a rose gold, it looks like, or maybe like a copper, somewhere in between there. But it's just a very nice coloration, especially against that navy blue. I like it a lot. And it does have the little perimeter stitching that you can see there. We'll look at the spine. On the spine, you have CSB, and then some more of those kind of decorative elements to kind of just give like a visual representation of spine hubs. They're not raised or anything. It does say also Holy Bible, Christian Standard Bible, and then Holman. And on the back, you have that same nice little border. And you can see it is kind of like foiled. It is picking up the light quite nicely. So it's actually, like a little, kind of like a foil applique there. We'll look at the other exterior features. You have black head and tail bands. There is one ribbon. We'll take a look at that in a second. But you can see the gilt. I love it when publishers go a little crazy on these kind of custom gilts. Right, and I wish more publishers would do this. This is a very nice, like a copper or rose gold, probably a little more coppery because it's a little more orange. But it looks very nice. I hope the camera's picking it up, but it is a very nice color. As far as the ribbon goes, it is just a single double-sided satin ribbon. And, it's not like the highest of quality, but it's a nice quality, especially given the price of the Bible. And it is nicely cut, right? So they did a nice job with it. And it's kind of like it's not really like a gold color. Maybe like a peach color or something like that. It's a nice color. It goes well with the Bible. I probably would have preferred maybe something a little more coppery, but it's close enough. I don't mind it. Go ahead and open it up, take a look. On the inside, it is a paper face down. Again, the price is very reasonable. So I wasn't concerned with any sort of, crazy, finishes or anything like that. And certainly like I said, she requested an inexpensive Bible. And this is going to be kind of her first endeavor. So I don't want to go running to get her like a Premier Collection or an Allen or anything like that, just for it to sit on the shelf and get dusty. But certainly if she shows some interest and she wants something nicer, I'd be more than willing to kind of hook her up with something. Let's go ahead and take a look at the corner work on the synthetic covers here that always turn out better than actual leather covers. We'll go ahead and get into the text. Now we do have a presentation page. I'm going to leave this blank only because I don't know. I think it's kind of weird filling out a presentation page, and I understand this is like a gift for her. But it's just always weird for me to fill out a presentation page. So I normally never do, unless for me personally, it's my own Bible that I have like written in. That's the only time I'll fill out the presentation page. But otherwise, I tend not to fill them out. And you have your title page here. On the back, you have your copyright page. We'll take a look. You can see that it is the 2017 text. You can pause it if you're so inclined. You can also see all the different finishes they offer. There are quite a few. This is a fairly popular layout, I would imagine. And it was printed in China by R.R. Donnelly, and it was the 8th printing done in 2020, which is kind of weird. Well, I guess that's when that text would have come out, the 2020, the update. So I guess that explains why it is hasn't been updated. So then we have the table of contents here. And then we have an introduction to the Christian Standard Bible, which I will recommend for her to read, because I always recommend that. It's always a good idea if you haven't read the translation before. And then we have the abbreviations used in the CSB Bible, and then the Old Testament title page. And it gets right into Genesis, starting with the creation. I'll show it to you guys. So you can see here that we have a double column paragraph setting, right? And that's typically how the CSB is laid out. And the way that this specific edition works is it has essentially footnotes here, right at the very bottom, translator's footnotes, and then it has end of verse references. And I'm not even sure if it's end of verse references, maybe necessarily more so end of paragraph references. So let me turn the page and I'll show you guys some more examples of that. So you can see here, it doesn't have it on at the end of every paragraph, right? So this paragraph, here's the end of the paragraph, and there's nothing. Right, but then at the end of verse 27 here, there's a few references there. And then this paragraph goes all the way to the bottom. And then at the bottom, we have a few more cross-references there. And then quite a bit of the translator footnotes at the bottom. So you do get a decent mix. I mean, not a ton of cross-references, but that's okay because, again, I think she's relatively new to the Bible. I remember her saying that she grew up in the church and that it's been quite a while since she's been back. So I think just over the years, she probably kind of fell away from reading the Bible and was probably just interested in getting back into it. So I don't want to bombard her with like an ESV study Bible. Granted, to me, that would be very helpful for someone like me who loves to study and dig. I don't know if necessarily that's the direction that she wants to go. So I figured I would just get her something relatively easy to approach. I can kind of just explain to her the few basic kind of, features that it has and just kind of let her run with it. And again, this is a very easy translation. And I feel like this is a nice enough layout, that it kind of lends itself to reading easily. Now, we do have, as far as the text features, we have the book name and the chapter numbers up in the top corners. And there's not like a beginning and ending verse deal. It's just kind of the range that is associated with the page. So you can see 1 and 2 are the two chapters here, and that's what's indicated. You also have the page numbers up in the top middle. And then you have a double line kind of drop cap numeral here for the chapter numbers, along with kind of running headers throughout the text and at the beginning of some chapters, right? So just kind of throughout the text. And we'll kind of go through. The CSB does a wonderful job with formatting too, if you can see here. And we'll go to the paragraph to the poetic section here in a second, and we'll take a look. But I've always enjoyed the CSB. It was the first Bible translation that I just sat down and completely read through from start to finish. So I'm kind of fond of it. And to be honest, I only remember one verse, and I can't think of it for the life of me. But I remember one verse that had some sort of weird slang term in the verse. I want to say riffraff or hubbub or something like that. I can't exactly remember what verse it was. If any of you know, please feel free to leave it down below in the comments. I thought it was hilarious because the whole rest of the Bible is very easy. It's very straightforward. I didn't find any really slang that stood out to me, but just this one verse that again was riffraff or hubbub or I don't know, shenanigans or something like that. It said, it was just so out of place. I was like, did it really just use that word? I thought it was so weird. But we'll go ahead and we'll stop here and you guys can take a look. There's a couple kind of dual word lines, right? 2 words on a line, But if you notice, like all the rest is very nicely formatted. All the rest of the kind of the poetry is very nicely formatted. I don't see any single word lines. There's one, right? God. But other than that, I mean, it's very well done. You know, normally if we take a look at like some of the ESVs or something like that, I mean, or even like NIVs, the majority of all the other translations, they don't even attempt to do this. It's just they justify everything, and you end up with so many single word lines, and it's not really kind of appealing to the eye, whereas this one is. So we can look at Psalm 119 here, and you can see that they do include the Hebrew letters, which is nice. I appreciate when they do that. I'll try and show that to you guys more often. I know sometimes that's maybe not like a deal breaker to someone, but sometimes it matters. Let's take a look at the paper. Since we're right here, and you can see that there is a little bit of show through. It's not super terrible, and again, this is a value edition, so I'm not expecting like Prima Bible paper or anything like that, or 36 GSM. But it is a relatively nice paper, given what it is. It's just a pure white paper. There's no blue cast that I can tell. It doesn't have any sort of yellow color, bone color, or eggshell color, none of that, or cream, nothing like that. It's just like a pure white. And it is fairly smooth, right? Not super smooth, but it's not like super rough either. For me, it's got like a nice texture. It makes it just easy to flip the page. Right, and it feels kind of thick enough, right? Again, it's not like a 36 GSM. It's probably low 30s, 32 or something like that. It's still a decent paper for what it is. Let's go ahead and get to the New Testament. So we have the end of Malachi there. Oop. Come on, Malachi. There we go. So we have the end of Malachi. And then we just have the New Testament title page. And then it gets right into Matthew. And we'll take a look at that red letter, flip right to it. Look at that. All right, so the red letter isn't great. The red letter is almost, it kind of reminds me of the copper that's on the gilt, because I wouldn't say that it's red, but I wouldn't say it's like orange or anything. It really does kind of mimic that same sort of coppery color. I mean, it's not really shimmery or metallic or anything like that, but it does kind of, mimic that sort of copper color. So I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was just the ink that they used or the lot that they used or whatever, but I really don't mind it. It is something a little bit different, and, the only thing is it's just a little bit light, kind of. On this side, it looks a little bit light. You can certainly tell where the text is bolded for the Old Testament references. But, it is a little light, but not terribly so. And for her, she's not like a Bible aficionado, so it's probably not gonna bother her either way. And if it does, I'll be more than happy to go out and buy her a black letter. Anything, right? Anything to get somebody into the Word of God. I'm okay with it. So let me go ahead and show you guys the end. I don't think that there's very much at the end here. I think it just kind of drops off with a couple little things. All right, so there is the end of the Bible. And then you have a where to turn section. I really love how Holman does this. I feel like Holman, even if they don't put like a ton of helps in their Bibles, the helps that they put in are really kind of targeted towards, people who are new to the Bible. And I can really appreciate that, right? So this is a nice little section, when you're in need of restoration, when temptation seems stronger than you are, when you are sick, right? And it tells you like little verse references and even the page numbers, right? Because obviously if you're new to the Bible, you're not going to know where these books are. But it points you in the right direction, kind of where to turn to seek, some comfort in those times of need, right? And so you have 2 pages of that, and then you have your tables of weights and measures, kind of standard fare. You have your dry measures and your liquid measures, just in case you're wondering what a zextes equates to in terms of pints. I don't know. Oh, it's always so funny sometimes, those measurements. A topical concordance, and that's pretty neat too, because again, if you're looking for something for debt, it's kind of similar to the other one, but a little more focused. But very nice. A few pages of this, not very many, and then we get right into our maps. And Holman does a nice job with their maps. I know they're not like the super most spectacular stuff, but I really like them. And I love the paper they print them on. They print them on like this very thick kind of matte finish paper. So if you want to take notes on them, it's certainly easy enough to do that. I'll show you a few more of them. And there we go. That's the one that usually ends up getting really crowded, but even here it doesn't look so bad thanks to their color choice and the font they used. So not too shabby. So we do have just a few maps there. And then we just have our end sheet there. Now, I really wish they would have shoved a couple more kind of sheets of just blank, kind of thicker paper like this. That's always nice to me. But, if they didn't, for whatever case, it just kind of ends and that's that. Now, this is a sewn binding, so you don't have to worry about it coming in glued. And thankfully, I won't have to worry about it either. There's nothing worse than, kind of worrying about the Bible that you gave somebody and they call you and, hey, my Bible started falling apart. Pages are falling out. So thankfully, the stone construction won't have to worry about that. So let me get you guys some measurements. And I was not prepared. So we have, as far as height goes, it is about 8 and just over 8.5 inches tall by about 5 3/4 inch wide by about 1 inch and, what is that? 1 inch and 3/8? Yeah, about 1 inch and 3/8 thick. So a nice mid-sized Bible, and that was another thing I wanted to get her. Obviously, I could have gone with like a giant print or something like that to really help her out, but I'm always kind of hesitant on that, especially purchasing a Bible for, not to sound sexist or anything, but at least for like an older woman. And I've kind of over the years I've realized, or I guess I've heard right in passing that after a while the Bible's kind of heavy. This big Bible's getting heavy. So I'm trying to encourage her to read it, or at least, mitigate some of those things that would cause her not to read it. So I didn't want to get her like a humongous tome, and then she's sitting there, man, this Bible's really heavy. It's, I don't really like holding it anymore. But so that was just one of the things I wanted to kind of consider, was just a nice kind of medium-sized Bible. I guess a little bigger than hand size, my hand size, for whatever that's worth. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the font sizes. Very nice size font. So the B for the uppercase, it's about an 11.5 point font versus Times New Roman. We'll look at the M and smeared here. Let's start with an 11.5 and go from there. See, it ends up being such a good size font only because of the way these newer fonts work. So in comparison to Times New Roman, the lowercase is about a 13 point font, which is excellent. I mean, really, that really truly is a large print, right? If not even kind of bordering on giant, because I know sometimes the giant prints, they're around 13 point. So just a very nice text. Certainly, I hope that this benefits her, right? And, obviously, if you're buying a Bible for somebody, I would hope that it would do the same, right? It would benefit them. And we have to remember that, God is going to use whatever it is we provide him. So even if I did give her a trade paperback King James version, he's still going to use that to the fullest that it can be used, I guess, or the fullest that he wants it to be used. So certainly feel free to give Bibles as gifts to people. Put a little bit of thought behind it, because you never know, that little bit of thought might kind of push them to read it more so. And Bible buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, all that cool YouTube stuff, it would be super appreciated. Until next time, Bible buddies. Bye.